topic of the week, which is the importance of hydration and electrolytes.
Yes.
It's big.
Very hot topic.
Exactly. And this time of the year is, of course, last week we had a few people that heat was their problem when they came in. They've been outside too long, stayed outside. It does cause a lot of problems. And people think, oh, well, I'm used to the heat. I don't think anybody gets used to this heat that we're having right now.
We had a 111 degree heat index on Saturday.
And that is bad for everyone.
That's
I can honestly say everyone can have a problem with that type of heat.
Especially if you work.
Iguanas might be okay and that they're going to be fine, but we're not built like iguanas, so that's a problem.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately,
I guess. Fortunately, exactly.
Right. So what is the first sign to maybe someone who's watching that they have a problem with hydration and electrolytes?
First, what is hydration?
Well, I mean, hydration is just keeping enough water and electrolytes in the body. And you know what? One, you mentioned the first sign. One of the first signs will be something like dizziness and so on. And one of the reasons is that your brain is 75% water. Think about that. 75% water. Our body's 60% water. So
and your blood is 90% water.
90%. So if you're lacking any of the water for hydration, minerals, because if you don't have the minerals, the brain can't function properly, muscles aren't going to function properly. I mean,
like I said, it's a transport system, and water is your main transporter.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have enough water, you do start affecting everything. You start affecting brain function, muscle function, energy levels. People don't realize fatigue can actually be dehydration.
Yep.
I had somebody recently where they looked dehydrated. Their kidney function had changed drastically on lab work in like a month or two. And I was like, I think it's dehydration. And so, of course, it was a man, and I told his wife he really needs to drink water. So she made him, and she told me like a week later, he's a different person, not just, I don't even know what his kidney function looks like right now, but he has more energy, he's sharper, everything about him is different because he is drinking water.
And we're not talking about the water that you get in your tea or your coffee.
No, because the caffeine itself can dehydrate.
Sure. Yeah, caffeine's actually a little bit of a diuretic. So it's going to kind of push the water out, which is, if you need it, that's fine. But in most cases, no. And, the same thing with, unfortunately, a lot of people drink things when they're out, like on the weekend or something, when you're out in that 111 heat index. Probably one of the worst things to drink is beer. I know a cold beer, it might be great, but it's so good. It's so good.
Very
but
dehydrating.
It's going to really get you down.
And it's going to waste electrolytes,
It's going to waste some electrolytes, I promise you. So, yeah, that's no doubt about it.
Well, and it's going to eventually cause you to break the seal, and that's counterproductive. Keeping those liquids in your body, for sure. So with regard to electrolytes, what's the importance there?
Well, sodium is probably one of your most important ones. It really is. Without sodium, your nervous system literally cannot function. It can't function. You can't send a signal from here to here or anywhere else. It just doesn't function. Sodium and potassium, those are the two biggies for that. And so without those two, you're in really big shape. Now there's others. Some of the other. Potassium is really big. Potassium really helps to keep the heart rate under control, things like that.
Blood pressure.
That's always a big blood pressure. So that's a goodie. So there's a lot of things happen with these electrolytes that people don't realize. And they think, well, if I just drink some water, especially, unfortunately, at this time of year when it is so hot, and if you're like me, you walk outside and just stand there, and sooner or later stuff starts dripping off of you. It just starts sweating. I don't have to do anything. If I get active, it's really going to be bad. And so that when you do that, you're losing a lot of electrolytes.
You lose minerals.
And minerals.
We find it really challenging, though, with a lot of the patients that come in because they may have hypertension or congestive heart failure and been put on strict sodium restrictions. And so it is important to work with a provider and make sure that you're not just blindly dumping stuff in. If you are on diuretics or things of that nature, we can help guide you as well.
Yeah, it's really important, like you said, if you've got an underlying condition where that's a problem, then you got to be very aware of that. And I think just doing things willy-nilly is probably not the best way to go about it.
Right, you don't want to just take a bunch, especially potassium.
Yeah.
You can get too much potassium.
Right.
That is one I have a lot of people come in all the time and they, well, I have muscle cramps. I'm taking all this potassium and it's not helping. And I'm like, well, might not be potassium.
Sometimes it can be too high if you're dehydrated.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So we tell
Get
people
high.
to definitely check electrolytes. If you're having repetitive problems and it's not just something that's short term, you want to see where they are. That's the best way of knowing. And we do. Probably the electrolyte that we see the biggest problem with is sodium and chloride, which what is salt? Sodium chloride. So it kind of goes together. But people have gotten afraid of salt. And like she said, there's conditions that you can't overdo salt. But there's a lot of conditions that you can underdo salt.
I had a lady in the other day, and she had been hospitalized repeatedly for having low sodium, and her cardiologist was still like, no salt. And they came to me, they're like, can you help guide me through this? Because mom can't be losing her whole mind because she's low on sodium. So a lot of patients are on diuretics for blood pressure control, and that's not necessarily, I'm not going to say it's never appropriate, but it's not necessarily indicated for everyone to be on hydrochlorothiazide as the next step up if there's not blood pressure control.
Right.
Would you agree?
Right. Yeah.
And especially in our atmosphere.
Our atmosphere,
environment.
exactly.
Yeah, in our environment, it's probably one of
It
the
can be
hardest
dangerous.
things. Yeah, it's probably one of the last things you want to think
You
about.
can actually
really.
see young people here with high blood pressure during the summer because of the dehydration, and because if they work out in the sun. So working outside is one of the reasons that people lose a lot of electrolytes. But you also have the people that are just like I said, the elderly people that just probably are not drinking water.
You don't have to be working outside right now. You can literally just take a walk around the block, or just go for a light walk, and it's so hot outside that you'll sweat out all the good work you did
Get in
first
your
thing
car.
in the morning.
Yeah.
The body is constantly losing fluid, just trying to cool itself, even
Sure.
without excessive exertion.
Right. 'Cause
Now,
that's
if you
how our
are
body cools.
exerting, then you even need more.
Yeah.
And that's the people like I said, excessive exercise. But like I said, it doesn't take that to have to need it either.
No, I mean, because, a lot of people, we get this one a lot now. People are doing the low carb diets and so on. And for various reasons, maybe they need to, but you really got to watch those electrolytes. Same thing with ketogenic diets. A lot of the minerals that we get come from some of the vegetative stuff. Your green leafy vegetables, that kind of thing. Avocados are great, potatoes, things like that. So you get a lot of those electrolytes there. And if you're doing a real low carb diet or working outside, it's about the same. I mean, you can really put yourself in a situation, even though you're not exercising outside where it's hot as it blazes, you can still have a problem.
That's a great point. Kind of touch on something that you were talking about, when you're getting electrolytes from fruits and vegetables, it's much easier for your body to assimilate that than it is, if you're just drinking water and then pouring electrolytes on top of it. So many people are eating, foods that are devoid of water now. We used to eat more fruits and vegetables, and we hope that you're making your plate up with a portion of that. But
At least
so
some.
many
Yeah,
people
because that's where
aren't.
you get some of your water. Drinking it is part of it. And then one of the myths about, hydration is that everybody needs to drink 8 glasses of water. Well, people are different. I see many people that need way more than 8 glasses of water. Maybe if you are an inactive person that never goes outside and you weigh 120 pounds, then 8-ounce glasses possibly is enough. But otherwise, it's probably not. I mean, people aren't drinking enough.
Because you could be in a deficit with 8 ounces.
Right. Oh, definitely.
Glasses.
If you think about it, 8-ounce glasses is 64 ounces. What I tell people is half of your body weight in ounces is a minimum.
And then pivot based on lifestyle.
Unless there's a medical condition.
That's not even
like
close
I said, that's
for me.
different.
Yeah.
But
Not even close.
yeah.
Then it's back to that urinating problem. If you drink water, you're going to have to pee. Well, here's a way you can tell. Am I drinking enough water? Do I have to pee very often? I mean, we got people that can go all day. I mean, early morning and then late in the afternoon, and they still haven't went to the restaurant. Oh, my God, you're dehydrated.
Yeah.
I've actually found that I have to urinate more frequently when I'm dehydrated and have more nighttime waking. If you think about it, it's irritating to the bladder.
Very irritating.
But a lot of people, are wanting to do just let's drink a big glass all at once, and it actually works better. Your kidneys can only process so much if you're sipping small amounts throughout the day.
Right.
And there are so many electrolyte drinks out there, and some are okay, some are not. I always say you really have to look at them because everybody is different for one. Some of them are loaded with so much sodium. If somebody doesn't need the sodium, that's not good. Some of them have such high potassium. If your potassium is not a problem, that's not good. So you kind of have to look at it. And I always say, look at the sweeteners. If they have artificial sweeteners in them, don't do it, or if it's loaded with sugar. So you can get either one. There is like a little simple electrolyte drink you can make yourself, lemon or lime juice with water and a pinch of salt. And that can kind of give you something to sip on and drink throughout the day.
That's no fun.
But not all salt is created equal. What salt would you recommend?
I mean, we use the Himalayan salt. That's what we use, or the Celtic salt.
Yeah.
Celtic salt is what a lot of people do for electrolytes.
Minerals.
Well, they got more minerals in it.
It does. Has a lot of minerals.
Variety. Yeah.
I probably cook more with the Himalayan, but the Celtic we do have as well, and that's one that a lot of people like to just put under the tongue. So you can even just put a little bit under your tongue and see how you do.
Is there a population of people that needs this the most, or is this just blanket everybody needs it?
I mean, everybody needs hydration. Hydration is everybody. Because without hydration,
more at risk.
You can live without food for so many days. You can't live without water.
Right.
I mean, that's one thing, it will kill you if you don't have hydration.
Rule of threes: 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. And that 3 days without water is going to be tough. Believe me, it's going to be really tough. By the time you start getting dehydrated, if you don't get some water by the second to third day, you're in trouble. Serious trouble. You really are.
That's no good.
You can take a healthy person and take water away from them, and they will not be very healthy very long.
Well, it's one of the first things you do if you go to the emergency room and you got this problem.
Right.
One of the first things you do, put an IV in and hang a bag of saline.
Good news is you don't have to go to the emergency department. You can come in and see if you're a candidate.
Right.
It's going to be a much better day.
Exactly.
That's right. Exactly.
Are there some other symptoms that we should be on the lookout for other than just the ones that we've mentioned?
Well, I think one that we hear so many times, brain fog. Oh my God. Everybody's got brain fog.
Might not need coffee.
Your brain can't,
Might not need that next cup of coffee.
Right. You may not need coffee. You might need some just water and some electrolytes, because your brain can't function without electrolytes.
Now, muscle cramps is another big one that we see. We see so much during the summer, of course, and one of our products, Mega Mineral, we sell so much of it during the summer because even people that don't like taking vitamins come in and buy that for the summer because they're like, oh my gosh, this keeps me from cramping. So, and it is a combination of not just your electrolytes, it has other minerals in it as well because you lose a lot of minerals when you sweat. And it does not have sodium in it, so it does not have the salt, but you can add that to it. So that's what we tell people, it's easy to add, but that is one of the things we do a lot for people that are cramping a lot during the summer.
Welcome back to the Dr. Nutrition Show. We have a couple of questions we're going to get to right now. This caller was asking about the types of recipes that you typically find in magazines for conditions like diabetes. Are they actually good, or are they just trying to make you spend money that you don't need to be spending?
It depends on the recipe. It depends on the magazine. It always, if it's using brands and using what they sell from a company as the main ingredient, well, then you're probably trying to say something. But some are good, some are not. Because sometimes I even seen books on diabetes, and I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, a diabetic can't eat this, or they sure can't control their sugar. So it is something that
we see that one all the
depends.
time.
I mean, there's good and bad. I always like to say you have to know kind of what your health issues are, and then what you need to be staying away from.
Well, it's like the diabetes thing, and back to the electrolytes and so on. They talk about potassium. Oh, bananas. Avocado has 4 times the potassium. 4 times an avocado. And how much sugar? Almost nothing.
Right.
But that banana, oh Jesus, when they get ripe,
and also, if a recipe is calling for packaged processed food,
right?
Like if you're using a can of soup that's already made, I don't like that because
Remember
they're loaded.
grapefruit diet?
Yeah,
right.
That was probably a hogwash, right? We now know.
They're loaded with MSG. Most soups out there.
Yeah.
I can't say all, but most. So you have to look. You want to do a low packaged processed food diet. So if it calls for a lot of stuff that's already packaged and processed to put in it, you don't want that.
All right. And can you add salt on the fruit?
Sure.
Lovely.
What's a watermelon without some salt?
I mean,
And like I said, just don't overdo fruit
don't
because
overdo
it's
it, but
lots of sugar. But like I said, it does make it taste sweeter if you actually put a little salt.
I even like it on an apple.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
I have to give that. I do like peanut butter on apples, and that's
Well, that's
a little
good
salty.
too. That's
Yeah.
good too.
That's kind of the same premise.
Yeah, that's really good.
So, those are the questions we've got so far. So let's talk about the special. There are actually 2 specials this week. They are.
Well, the Mega Minerals that Janine was talking about earlier, and that's just our broad spectrum mineral supplement. Great compound. Now, it does not have the sodium in it, but otherwise, it's got all your minerals that you need. It's got some potassium, it's got some magnesium, it's got calcium. It's got all the stuff in it, And those are things that you just aren't getting enough of typically through diet, mostly.
Yeah.
Now the other part, Angie, I'll let you talk about this one.
So this week we are able to offer $20 off of our preservative-free IV drip menu. Give us a call. We'd love to get you scheduled for this week. We do have limited windows where that's available, but look forward to blessing some dehydrated patrons on the coast this week.
And if you want to see which IV drips are available, you can go to our website.
Yeah.
Our website does have each individual ones and what it has in it, or you can just get a bag of fluid. So there's actually different IVs and they range. So you'll always have to talk to Angie to see if you are a candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can come and ask whatever questions you want about maybe the options that are on the
Right.
menu.
Absolutely. Love to have the conversation.
Because you never know. You might think that you're a perfect candidate for this, and you might actually be better for this.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And like I said, it's instant hydration when you do have an IV. That's why, like I said, when you go to the hospital and you not doing well, the first thing they do is they hook you up.
Right, put you on a drip, make sure that you're getting fluids. That's always the first. And that tends to help a lot right out the gate.
It does.
Because that usually is 9 times out of 10.
A lot of times people, especially if they've been throwing up or something like that, you're vomiting.
Actually, vomiting and diarrhea is one of the big reasons people get dehydrated. I mean, we talked about the heat and we talked about exercise and we talked about, but honestly,
buffets here on the coast, we saw that a lot in the emergency department.
What?
The buffets we have here on the coast, we did see that a lot in the emergency department.
Yes.
getting sick.
Oh, see, I do love a good buffet, but I try to stay away from them. So what are there any other supplements maybe that you guys have in the store that could help with the electrolytes and the?
Well, we have an electrolyte blend.
We have a few electrolyte
Yeah,
blends.
several. I've got one of my favorites. I've used it for 20 years.
Yeah, the electrolyte energy drink.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. And because I can just put like a half a scoop or something in a bottle of water, keep that, and that way you're getting your electrolytes. It's not heavy in the sodium, that's for sure. But it does have a broad spectrum, and it doesn't have sugars and stuff in
And
it.
it also has things in it that help the muscles work better during times of dehydration.
Right.
I've also started adding creatine to my hydration. A lot of people are having conversations about that. That helps you hold water better in your muscles. Some people might say it's just a meathead supplement, but a lot of people are talking about it for brain function.
I mean, it's that too.
It's that too.
It's not just that.
But you got to make sure you stay hydrated if you do creatine, because it can affect kidney function if you don't drink enough water.
Right.
So I always tell people you got to drink water.
Not appropriate for everybody.
I'm glad you mentioned that electrolyte drink, because my mother, she's probably not watching, so I'm okay to say this. She's one of the people that I know that's like, I can't stand drinking water, and we'll dump powder in the water so it tastes better to drink, because I just don't like drinking water. But I'm going to get it, but I have to get it by this route. That's definitely an option, but you want to make sure that what you're dumping in your water is
good, right? You don't want it to be loaded with artificial sweeteners. You don't want it to be loaded
terrible
with
for your brain.
Right.
Right, terrible for your brain.
Sugar. You want to see what's in it. And I mean, some things are just, loaded with sugar is why it makes it taste better. So you just have to see what you're getting. And then you don't have to do electrolyte drinks. You can actually, like I said, drink water and then just make sure you get your electrolytes if you need them. And you can always check electrolytes. I mean, the thing is, that's a simple blood test, and we can see where they are. Because I have people that tell me, my potassium is so low, and when we check it, it's on the high end, and I'm like, okay, it is not, and you do not need to be taking potassium.
Yeah.
So potassium is one of those that can definitely get dangerous if you're getting too much.
And something I had to educate a lot of patients about with the low sodium diets, if you are using salt substitutes, those can be very high in potassium. So
well, that's what they use is potassium.
First thing I ask is, are you doing that no salt, or whatever they call them? And because it is potassium, and so people can be getting too much of that. Now, magnesium is one we hadn't mentioned much, but it is a really important electrolyte.
Love magnesium.
Yeah,
makes me smarter and nicer.
Yeah, and it's one.
Clutch the pearls on that one.
It is one that's in most of the IV drips.
Yeah, it really makes a big difference. Cognitive function, mood, muscle tension. That's another big seller we have at the store is the magnesium topical sprays and lotions. Real lifesaver during my most recent pregnancy. I did not have all those leg cramps I had in my previous one. So
we're getting nuggets of wisdom here this morning. Nuggets. Nutrition, the best nuggets.